Note. Varies by jurisdiction. Note. Varies by jurisdiction. Assassination is the act of murdering a prominent or important person, such as heads of state, heads of government, politicians, royalty, celebrities, or source. An assassination may be prompted by political and military motives, or done for financial gain, to avenge a grievance, from a desire to acquire fame or notoriety, or because of a military, security, insurgent or secret police group's command to carry out the assassination. Acts of assassination have been performed since ancient times. The word assassin is often believed to derive from the word hashashin, and shares its etymological roots with hashish. It referred to a group of Nizari Ismailis known as the assassins who worked against various political targets. Founded by Hassan I Saber, the assassins were active in the fortress of Alamut in Persia from the 8th to the 14th centuries, and later expanded into a de facto state by acquiring or building many scattered strongholds. The group killed members of the Abbasid, Seljuk, Fatimid, and Christian Crusader elite for political and religious reasons. Although it is commonly believed that assassins were under the influence of hashish during their killings or during their indoctrination, there is debate as to whether these claims have merit, with many Eastern writers and an increasing number of Western academics coming to believe that drug taking was not the key feature behind the name. The earliest known use of the verb, to assassinate, in printed English was by Matthew Sutcliffe in a brief reply to a certain odious and slanderous libel, lately published by a seditious Jesuit, a pamphlet printed in 1600, 5 years before it was used in Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Assassination is one of the oldest tools of power politics. It dates back at least as far as recorded history. In the Old Testament, King Joash of Judah was assassinated by his own servants. Joab assassinated Absalom, King David's son, and King Sennacherib of Assyria was assassinated by his own sons. Chanakya, emperors of Rome often met their end in this way, as did many of the Muslim Shia imams hundreds of years later. The practice was also well known in ancient China, as in Jing Kai's failed assassination of Qin King Ying Zheng in 227 BC. Whilst many assassinations were performed by individuals or small groups, there were also specialized units who used a collective group of people to perform more than one assassination. The earliest were the Sicarii in 6 AD, who predated the Middle Eastern assassins and Japanese shinobis by centuries. In the Middle Ages, regicide was rare in Western Europe, but it was a recurring theme in the Eastern Roman Empire. Strangling in the bathtub was the most commonly used method. With the Renaissance, tyrannicide, or assassination for personal or political reasons, became more common again in Western Europe. High medieval sources mention the assassination of King Demetrius Zvonimir, dying at the hands of his own people, who objected to a proposition by the Pope to go on a campaign to aid the Byzantines against the Seljuk Turks. This account is, however, contentious among historians, it being most commonly asserted that he died of natural causes. The myth of the curse of King Zvonimir is based on the legend of his assassination. In 1192, Conrad of Montferrat, the de facto king of Jerusalem, was killed by an assassin. The reigns of King Przemysl II of Poland and Henry IV were all ended by assassins. During the 16th and 17th century, international lawyers began to voice condemnation of assassinations of leaders. Balthazar Ayala has been described as the first prominent jurist to condemn the use of assassination in foreign policy. Alberico Gentili condemned assassinations in a 1598 publication where he appealed to the self-interest of leaders. Assassinations had adverse short-term consequences by arousing the ire of the assassinated leader's successor, and assassinations had the adverse long-term consequences of causing disorder and chaos. Hugo Grotius's works on the law of war strictly forbade assassinations, arguing that killing was only permissible on the battlefield. In the modern world, the killing of important people began to become more than a tool in power struggles between rulers themselves and was also used for political symbolism, such as in the propaganda of the deed. In Russia alone, 2 emperors, Paul I and his grandson Alexander II were assassinated within 80 years. In the United Kingdom, only one prime minister has been assassinated, Spencer Perceval on May 11, 1812. In Japan, a group of assassins called the Four Hitokiri of the Bakumatsu killed a number of people, including Naosuke, who was the head of administration for the Tokugawa shogunate. During the Bosin War, most of the assassinations in Japan were committed with bladed weaponry, a trait that was carried on into modern history. A video record exists of the assassina.